I hear a lot of people talk about equipment. This is kind of common for beginners and people kind of still at the bottom of the rung and whatever, sort of creative industry. This is, even though it's YouTube, it's still technically it's a creative industry, entertainment kind of industry, so you want to put your best foot forward, here kind of a thing, even if you're just screwing around. So people talk about equipment a lot, mics and cameras and all that kind of shit. I can tell you, I've worked in film production. Equipment is great. You want to have good equipment. Obviously, you want to have a good quality shotgun mic, all the great cameras and all that kind of shit, right? At the end of the day, the only thing people really care about is the content, the story. They want to be entertained. They want to be informed. It's about the emotion. It's about the characters. It's about, the story. That's what people care about. The equipment is just a tool to record content. The people don't care about what the content is recorded on. They only care about the content itself. And so, so for example, I'm recording this on a relatively cheap mic. It's a $100 Rode, a Rode Pod mic. It's in the same category as a Blue Yeti. It's a $100 mic. It's like, entry level, studio quality kind of mic. It's decent. It's a good mic, right? Nobody gives a shit. Nobody gives a shit that what I'm recording on. They only care about the recording itself, the quality of the recording. And yes, obviously the mic matters and the quality, but especially for a podcast or any kind of, YouTube kind of, live stream content, there kind of comes a point where it's just like it's overkill, the kind of equipment you're using, especially if you're not really generating any interesting content. It's like nobody gives a shit, while you have the best mic and you have the best camera. Good for you. Your content's still boring and nobody likes you and, all that kind of shit. So it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Here's a really good example, kind of all this. I don't know if anybody remembers. So Robert Rodriguez, right, the filmmaker, I forget what he's done recently. Did something pretty good recently. Anyway, he made El Mariachi with Antonio Banderas and I think Salma Hayek was in that too. Anyway, $7,000. He spent $7,000 to make a feature-length film. Columbia came along, bought it. They spent another $200,000 fixing the sound, transferring it to film, post, blah, blah, blah. Nobody gives a shit, Nobody cares that he made that movie for $7,000 on, low-end fucking equipment. Bottom line was it was a good story. It's a relatively good movie. That's what people care about. Not the equipment. Nobody gives a shit about the equipment. Nobody cares. It just doesn't fucking matter, man. What matters is the content. Focus on the content. But whatever. I know what it's like. I used to, when I was, long fucking time ago, when I was first trying to get into this kind of stuff, over 20 years ago, playing around with mics and cameras and shit. Yeah, I was enamored. I was enamored with the equipment. It's a thing. But eventually I realized it doesn't matter. What matters is the content. Focus on the content. Fuck the equipment.